everyone, this is Joan, and I hope you're enjoying your Sabbath and that you're using it as we are supposed to or as close as you can reasonably come. Well, anyway, I had looked at a video by Chrissy earlier discussing what you're looking at here, Ice Cube's contract with Black America. And I try to stay, at least a little bit, I try to stay up with what's going on. A lot of times things are happening so fast, they're happening before I can say anything one way or the other about it. But her argument was that he was a former thug, and that why would people, especially black women, follow him? And to be truthful, I kind of agree. I don't think he was a black thug. I think that he came from a middle-class family that just didn't have middle-class money. And, that's pretty similar to where I came from. So it's kind of like you can be living in a thug neighborhood, but there are Christians around you, so to speak, so that you aren't really out there doing certain things. You might know about them, but you aren't really involved. But my thing with him is, I don't care if he was a thug or not a thug, and this will be a very, very short video, because my thing with Ice Cube and with black male leadership is that, well, has he ever said anything about black women? I remember the movie I saw with him. Now, I saw the first one with Nia Long, where he had a crush on Nia Long. It was Fridays. And the second one, he was oogling this Hispanic woman. And beyond that, he just sang a lot of songs about shooting people, or getting shot or running from stuff. And like I said, from what I've seen, I don't really think he was as much into that as we have been led to believe. My major thing about him is that people aren't taking into consideration with him is he's an actor. He's an actor. He's a singer. He's a rapper or whatever else. But the man can act. He can act very convincingly. And also the thing about him is he's a Gemini. Now, I have done a video on Geminis, and I did too, and I mean to, please forgive me, I mean to get, in my head, I can do the work of 100 people, but in actuality, I can't. So I'm trying, but I know I did a video on Geminis. And I've been friends with a particular Gemini, since 1999. And my two oldest daughters are Geminis, and my baby girl who passed was a Gemini rising. So I kind of know some things about Geminis, and people often talk about fear of Scorpios. To me, Geminis are more frightening because they often have a very sweet look about them. They don't look like they would cause any trouble. But the thing about Geminis is that they're considered the smartest sign. Now, you might say, no, that's Aquarius. Aquarius is smart about certain things. But Aquarius just wants the knowledge. Aquarius wants the knowledge, and Aquarius has a Superman complex. Aquarius wants to save the world. And Gemini is not really too interested in saving the world. Gemini wants to have fun. Gemini wants to solve things quickly, to see things. They're curious, and they want to outsmart you. It means a lot to them. The reason why I have seen that Geminis talk to Aquarius at all is because they appreciate that Aquarius is smart, but Aquarius is not a competition for them when it comes to quick thinking. Aquarius has to go back somewhere and research it and compare it with this and see how that works. Aquarius is a scientist. Nope, Gemini is not. Gemini can think really, really quickly. Gemini wants to outthink you. It makes them happy. And that's whether they are being good or bad. That's just how they're built. They're quick thinkers. And they are called the trickster of the zodiac for a reason. So it's no accident that your president is a Gemini. Um, one of his favorite black fans, Kanye West, also a Gemini. And here they are talking about this guy, another Gemini, who may have met with him, or did meet with him, or whatever. Now here you have where people are arguing, especially D.L. Hughley, with Ice Cube for meeting with the president. But the thing is, and this is something I heard about John F. Kennedy, another Gemini, is that they have the ability to have two opposing ideals in their head at the same time and still function. So it does not surprise me that, that he meets with the president, but then he says he's not really for the president, but then he's not really against the president because he's a Gemini. I'm sorry, but everybody looks. Well, if you read astrology books, one of the first things you learn if you read about Aquarius is, yes, Aquarius is crazy. Okay, but if you look at what people actually do, Gemini beats Aquarius all over when it comes to doing some strange things. The difference is Gemini is unapologetic about it. Gemini is like, yeah, I did it, and what? Whereas Aquarius is like, I'm really not crazy. Please don't think I'm crazy. This is why I did it. I want you to understand why I did it. See, the reason is A, B, C, and D. That's the major difference. So, like I said, everybody's afraid of Scorpio. I would not be as afraid of Scorpio as Gemini, because Gemini cannot think of Scorpio. Well, Scorpios, don't get mad at me. y'all are deep too. But Scorpio also has no problem with you identifying them as the bad guy. For a fact, they like it. My grandson's a Gemini, and he's a baby, he's a Scorpio, and he's a baby, but he's already like, I don't, if you accuse him of something like you're playing, did you take the apple? At first, he's like, no, but then if you keep asking him, yeah, I took it, yeah, and, I mean, whereas, a Gemini would take the apple and you would never know they did it. They just would find some way to just outsmart you. You'd be looking like, wait a minute, I could swear there were 4 apples there. I turned my back and now there are 3. And you have this, where did you go? Where did this person, like I said, Geminis are smart. So, what do I think about his contract with America? What I think about his contract with America is that a lot of times it seems to me that when black men, these Hebrew Israelites, especially black men who identify as Hebrew Israelites, when they think about the nation, they don't think about women, black women at all. Now, there was a commercial on. I really believe it was this commercial, but I haven't been able to find it. And it was something called the Black Man's Heaven. And I can't remember what it was even advertising. But I remember a brown-skinned black guy playing a banjo and a white woman in a pair of Daisy Duke shorts. I don't remember what they were advertising, but that was the Black Man's Heaven. So whenever a black man comes up and says, well, this is what black people ought to do, or this is my contract that I think we should have, for America, I kind of figure they probably aren't thinking about black women. If they are, they're thinking about biracial black women or women who look something other than black, which, people make the distinction between light skin and biracial. But I think that generally speaking, you don't look like something unless you are that. That is, if you look white, you are white, or you're certainly closer to it than black. If you, like I said before, if you compare the pictures of slaves, of black people, Africans getting on or being on the slave ships, if you compare them to what we look like now, or what is considered black, they were a lot darker. There were no light people, at least as far as I could see, no light-skinned people getting on those slave ships. We are a dark race, period. I mean, a dark race with 4C hair. Now, we mixed up a little bit, in the Bible, the books of Ezra and Nehemiah, which these Hebrew Israelites will not touch, tells you certain guidelines. That's why you had a class called the Samaritans, because these were the children of the black men, Hebrew Israelite men, who went off with other women, and their children were not accepted. That's what the whole two books of Ezra and Nehemiah are about, that these children were not accepted, and the men were told, hey, you cannot bring them into our camp. You cannot. You cannot bring the women, and you cannot bring the children. So that way, the race stayed dark-skinned. That's why, like I said, when you look at the people on those slave ships, there were no light-skinned ones there. And like I said, as much as this race, the black race, likes to say, oh, well, two black people can have a white child, I think that's just, you're trying to make yourself feel good because you're in a bad position. Generally, if I was a man and I had a black wife and the child showed up something other than somewhere around my color or the partner's color, there would have to be some explanations made. Somebody's got to tell me something, unless the child was an albino. Now, albino is not regular. That means something went a little wrong, so I don't think that should even count. And, this is not exactly what I want to talk about, but my major point is, I feel about Ice Cube the way Ice Cube feels about women who look like me. I don't think anything about them one way or the other. I don't think any society he made would be, any contract he made with anyone would probably even include someone who looked like me. When I look at his wife, the picture of his wife, you see a certain preference for him. Okay, so this is a picture of his wife. And not saying anything about that, you married who you married, that's on you. Anyway, I kind of think that part of the attraction is she looks a lot like him, just, lighter skinned and female. But the thing is, like I said, his contract to me would have nothing to do with me. It would certainly not help me as far as I could see. I really do think that the only man, a particular black man, the only one who could help black women, unmixed black women, identifiably black women, the only man who can help is the Savior. Now, like I said before, when the women were crying and he told them, he turned around and looked at them and said, hey, even though I'm being tortured, I'm adding that particular part, even so, don't cry for me, cry for yourself and your children. Well, the Savior did not say things for no reason. He had a reason for saying that. Because even, number one, I don't think our men could help us. And even if they really had a heart to, well, I don't know, they wouldn't. Most of them who have been allowed to get to a position where they could do anything immediately go for the closest light-skinned or non-black woman they can possibly find. They have no real interest in saving you, except, as far as I can see, Malcolm X. And Malcolm X's mother also was an extremely light-skinned woman. And before he decided to, that he wanted to look at the plight of black women, he also was not into black women. When he woke up, I guess you could say, that's when he spoke out that, hey, the least protected person in the world is the black woman. So, as far as Ice Cube's contract for Black America, well, as far as that contract goes, I'm looking at it like this. This man is an actor, and he's a Gemini, and except for casting, I don't even know if he had anything to do with the casting, but except for a dark-skinned woman, Nia Long, being in Fridays, I have no indication that he has any real interest in women of my color or darker. So my thing is, if you have no interest in me, I have no interest in you. And I also feel, like I said, that as a group, our men have very little interest in protecting us. I'm sorry, they just don't. So any contract they make probably has nothing of any real direct benefit to me. So therefore, whatever. I'll wait for the Savior. So you guys have a great rest of your day.